r/AskReddit. What is the stupidest / most ignorant / fed up thing you've ever heard a teacher say? Teacher once asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said, an archaeologist. She replied, oh cute. No you don't. Archaeologists lead very lonely lives. Joke's on her. Though. I became an archaeologist. And I'm only moderately lonely. How many archaeologists does she know to have such a strong opinion on them? Very few. They mostly keep to themselves. You are in 8th grade. And had just gotten a paper back from your English teacher. Your opening paragraph had been a comparison that discussed the literary distinctions between first and third person. However, you didn't say first person and third person. You said third person and first or second person. The teacher writes in the margin, there is no such thing as second person. This paragraph is very ironic. He could save others from criticism, but not himself. We had a Sikh kid in our class named Baldeep and our teacher said, Baldeep? What are you, a porn star? Your name is Ballsdeep. Needless to say, the family got a big apology from the school and Mr. Stevens took a week-long vacation. One of those cases where everyone was thinking the same thing. But that doesn't mean you should say it. Makes me wonder what English names sound ridiculous in other languages. I'm in this literature class and the assignment was to give a report on an article you read that pertains to you. This Chinese kid disses on how it is difficult for Asians to Americanize and be viewed as normal. Afterwards the teacher, a black woman, replied that his report was good. But he couldn't possibly understand segregation and not fitting in because he was not black. That seems to be a trend of some African Americans dismissing Asian American issues because they see them as the same as any other white person. I say this because I was briefly friends with an African American girl who happened to be a total weeb. Said, I'm glad Asians are getting beat up more because they are never on our black people's side. At the time a lot of stories were releasing about Asians being beat up by ISIS or being taken away by ICE. I was shocked because she seemed so nice in class and I had to unfriend her because I was sick of seeing her post that hit. TLDR. Racism amongst minorities exists. In one of my social science classes last semester, we would do a lot of reading / discussions on multicultural issues in America in regards to minorities that aren't always talked about in our history books, and worked in groups every week. There was a half black / half Hispanic girl who would consistently let me know that no offense, as an Asian American, you just don't understand what it's like for real minorities. Real minorities. Just so matter of fact. She was a very nice person otherwise. Just ignorant about some things I guess. I had a teacher tell me to go jump off the 3rd floor balcony in high school. Glad you survived. Same here. That teacher was a duck nut. He told me on multiple occasions that I should kill myself. I told the school they didn't do it. A chorus teacher in 5th grade told my class that we were gonna grow up to become school shooters because we talked in class. This was right after the Virginia Tech shooting, and it was so bizarre to say to a bunch of 10-year-olds. She was using that to manipulate the class into shutting up. A really stupid choice on her part. Never let a good crisis go to waste is not a wise policy for an elementary school teacher. So we had a math teacher in high school who was, from what we had gathered, an extremely sheltered Catholic. Anyways, one day we were talking about our History Day project, and it was about the Holocaust. She heard us and told us Jews don't exist anymore because they were all killed in the Holocaust. We thought she was joking, but she was actually shocked to find this out when we literally had to show her proof on the internet and the Israel as a country. I was 17 and I could not wrap my head around how she did not know this. This is actually one of the more mind-boggling ones. To me, when I saw sheltered Catholic, this is not the direction I saw this post going. She's the smart one in a group of dumb ones. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. My 3rd grade teacher to my mom on why she singled me out and picked on me in class every day. I believe this was after we did a butterfly thing in class and I told the teacher that butterflies came out of chrysalides, not cocoons. The teacher was apparently very adamant that I stood out in a bad way and needed to be dumbed down. to fit in with society. Edit, Mr. Nee. Brother got into trouble with a teacher when he brought a dinosaur to show and tell day for things starting with I. He explained it was an iguanodon, but she admonished him as it was clearly a dinosaur. I feel like that also comes down to teachers thinking they should know everything and everyone else is wrong. Or something, that kids don't know anything. Irritating either way. I traded a 1991 Skybox Magic Johnson for a Charles Barkley, and then later that day Magic announced he had HIV. My friend demanded a trade back because he didn't want that faggoty ass Magic card no more, and took his case to the teacher when I refused to rescind it. The kid straight up told the teacher the trade was unfair because Magic was gay now. Instead of using this as a teachable moment to explain that HIV does not equal gay, or even if it did, there's nothing wrong with that, he instead took a different angle. The only thing worse than being gay is being an Indian giver. Once you agree to a trade, you can't undo it. Lol, what an asshole. But I laughed. Yelling at the entire class that they were stupid, and then singling out her non-favorites and calling them stupid again. Hello 4th grade teacher. Same thing in 5th grade for me. She didn't target me, but I had serious rage issues as a kid. Never really got me in trouble, but that day I could feel the world going red and just got up and walked out. Tried to get me in trouble until I explained to my parents what happened. Then my dad went off the principal and the teacher. Never got in trouble for it and never had a problem out of that teacher again. You were lucky. It took the combined efforts of my mom and a friend a year younger's mom to get my teacher fired, and nothing would stop her. Teacher, what are you taking in university? Me, anthropology. Teacher, in most condescending tone, and what exactly are you going to do with that? Me, do you know what anthropology is? Teacher, well, yeah, but you can't get a job in that. You'll never use your degree. Me, okay, thanks for the encouraging words at graduation. I think I'll probably use it, because anthropology applies to a lot of things. Teacher, you can't dig up dinosaurs everywhere. Me, that's not anthropology but okay. This is the same teacher who admitted she only became a teacher because she couldn't get a job with her math degree anywhere else. I'm happy to report I'm now fully employed with a PhD in anthropology. Still not digging up dinosaurs though, so have I really used my degrees? Do you know how many times I have to say? Digging up dinosaurs is paleontology. Anthropology is like Indiana Jones with less grave robbing. It's awful lol. I've corrected a lot of people on that. Everyone in my hometown keeps asking me how my life as bones is. I'm a linguistic anthropologist. I remember in elementary school, after I visited my godfather in the US, I'm from Germany, I told my peers during break about root beer and how much I liked it. My teacher, who was nearby, then proceeded to be highly judgmental and calling me a liar because my parents would never allow me to drink alcohol. I then tried explaining that root beer doesn't have alcohol, to which she said that it is called a beer, so it is alcoholic. 20 years later and it still infuriates me. Okay, fine. Ginger ale. Then, how about Coke? An African American teacher in my high school, who's still there by the way. Personally, I'm glad 9/11 happened. 9/11 was one of the best things to have happened. Because now police officers and everyone profiles against Middle Eastern people, and less towards blacks. I wish I was joking. My 12th grade English teacher in 2008 said watching the Twin Towers go down was beautiful. She also joked about the retards that can't take mainstream classes, and about how she used to throw forks at ex-workers in my city as a pastime when she was in high school. Oh, and she also falsely accused my friend of being on drugs because he finished a quiz before everyone and basically humiliated him in front of the entire class. She never got reprimanded for any of it. Total joke that she was still allowed to work. Wow. This is even more ducked. I stayed home in 4th grade on September 11th. Just by chance was one of the worst things I ever watched live. Duck that person. Not a teacher, but the school psychologist. In 4th grade in our school system, Every student has to do a 1.5-hour evaluation session with the district psychologist. This was the early 1970s. BTW. So, to break the ice, the psychologist asks me if I want to play checkers. I don't know how. I respond. He's incensed. He can't believe it. He asks me several times if I'm sure I don't know how to play checkers. He grills me about whether or not my parents or grandparents didn't have any. They were all long dead when I was born. Grandparents, I mean, ever played checkers in front of me. Just ducking, obsessed with the fact that I don't know how to play. He tells me to wait there, and he leaves the little room we were using for the session. This next part one found out later. Apparently, he stormed down 3 flights to the office, demands my home telephone number, and calls my mother and just stitches her out about this lack of checkers thing. I mean, according to my mom, he went on for a good 5 minutes about how horrible my parents were for not teaching me how to play checkers. She lets him go on and on and on, and when he finally exhausts himself she asks, "Are you finished?" "Yes." "What do you have to say for yourself?" He plays chess. Click. Now my experience on that day resumes. He returns to the small room with a sickly look on his face, and then confirms with me that yes, I do indeed play chess. "Why didn't you tell me? You didn't ask." This is absurd. Why did he care so much about checkers? Probably always lost at Monopoly, so he liked games that weren't heavily luck based. People need to wear glasses because their skull is too small and it's squeezing their eyeballs. Bearing in mind that they started with your eyes never grow. That's why babies are so cute. This was a professor, by the way. I was confused. If your eyeballs were being squeezed, how do glasses help? The glasses have anti-squeeze technology. It's why they cost so much.